What is up, CSGs? In this video, I'm going to give you my takeaways from the Rockets versus the Thunder. How did we do? I'm going to talk about that right now. Tap in. Enjoy. The Rockets Chop Shop is your one-stop shop for all your basketball needs, for highlights, analysis, podcasts. We do it all here at the Rockets Chop Shop. Make sure you hit the like button on the videos that you watch if you enjoy them. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications from all the great drops that we have on the channel. Also, you can visit the Chop Shop merch store and get you some of the swaggiest gear in the Houston Rockets kingdom. And if you want, you can always support the channel directly through donations. And if you want, you can support us through our partnerships with our sponsors. The Rockets Chop Shop is made by fans, for fans, and we're going to keep rocking and keep dropping that heat.
This is something I know.
Well, I just finished watching the Rockets versus Thunder game that went to overtime. Overtime I probably didn't want, but it was an ugly game. I'm not gonna lie. We got to see a lot from the team. Some of the things that we struggled with last season reared its ugly head, primarily the offense. In my last video, I talked about it a bit with some of the lack of offensive philosophy that the Rockets haven't shown to display over the Ime Udoka's tenure. Some of those things came into being. And, I think we had players that played well. I think, for example, Reed Sheppard, who I'm going to talk about later on, was phenomenal. I think that there were spurts where the starters played well. But overall, we got to give credit to Oklahoma City. They might be the best team in the league. Like, they are really good. The addition of Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein, to me, is OP for a team that was already pushing the conference finals, right? So that was good. The great additions for that team, and for us facing them with all their starters back in. SGA played, Dort played, who hadn't played in the preseason. I expected it to be a tough place to try to go get a win. Even though we won the game on the box score, I would say when it comes to the minutes we were supposed to win, they kind of beat us. They beat us pretty good. And just looking at the game, it wasn't really nothing schematic. It was really, they just played harder than us. They played smarter. They played faster. They played more of a team concept of basketball than we did. I felt like the Rockets players were a bit selfish. There was a lot of guys trying to get their own in isolation. There was a lot of guys not passing to the open players. There were a lot of times in transition, guys try to do it on their own. A lot of immaturity in the way that they played. And I'm hoping as the season goes along, the Rockets can get all of those actions behind them, because like I said in my previous video, we have a lot of individually talented players, but for them to reach their ceiling, guys are going to have to learn to play with each other. This also highlighted some of the things that we see when Fred VanVleet isn't on the court for the team, right? In the summer, kind of speaking about the team's future, I really hope that we wouldn't be so heavily reliant on Fred VanVleet. But it seems like because he is the adult in the room when we are playing, that we are. You think when Fred is on there, he knows how to read the game a little bit. He knows when to get guys going. He knows how to get them into a good shot, right? That's the purpose of a good point guard, is to get your players and the team into the best shot on any given possession, whether it's going to be a shot on the inside, the outside, whether it's slowing it down, speeding it up. That's something Fred really, really thrives at. And not having him out there, you would expect Jalen to be able to step up to that. I didn't like the way Jalen executed not as a scorer per se, but as a ball handler. I expect more from him as the primary ball handler on the playoff team, to be able to control the offense, be able to run your pick and rolls with the bigs, whether it's Şengün or Orlando, but at the same time, be able to see the defense and how they're reacting to you, whether it's them collapsing and trying to help, or is this something that you need to hit your drive, hit the threes, or kick out to an open shooter. I really didn't see that a lot from him. I think he was still trying to find his shot. I think when he hunts for his shot, it really forces the game, and it's not natural for him. But at the same time, without Fred being out there, there's nobody else on the court that's able to make the game easier for him, right? So he's not getting set up to get into rhythm per se. And it's kind of trickles down. You see Jabari taking shots that are uncharacteristic. A man took a lot of bad shots in this game. He didn't really look great on ball. Şengün, even though he had a good individual game, I felt like I don't want to just post him up. To me, that's just it's just a form of isolation. I really want them to be able to learn to play with each other, and I'm just not seeing that. I don't know if it's Coach Udoka, I don't know if it's the players, but there's a lot of dynamics with the team that, to me, that they need to improve upon if they want to reach their ceiling. But to me, it all starts with the offensive philosophy. What the Rockets are right now, and I think this is a question that we're going to have to answer this season, and it's just a second preseason game. There's no need to take too much out of it. It's just something that they're going to have to watch the film and learn from. Basically, where they are right now is they're at the point where they're trying to kill multiple birds with one stone, right? You have all these young, talented players who are exploring their games and trying to learn who they are in the league. At the same time, in order to have a functional team, you need guys to be able to sacrifice and play roles. And for young players who are on their first contract, high draft picks, trying to define what their roles are going to be on the team, that is a tough ask, right? That's a tough thing to be able to ask them to be able to take a back seat to another young player or to other players while you're still have the dream of being that guy in your head, right? And the Rockets are at the point where their goals to make the playoffs are kind of antithetical towards everybody reaching their ceiling. Because as we saw, I always use this analogy. Best team ever put together was one of the greatest teams ever put together was the Olympic team that we saw with LeBron and them boys that won gold over in France. And on that team, Devin Booker had to play the Pat Beverly role, right? And I'm using the argument from the greater to the lesser. If a team that good forces the best players in the world to have to fit into roles where there's guys that are all they're out there is just play defense on their primary teams, they're top three in their position in the league. What does that mean for the Rockets, right? It means that it doesn't matter how you cut it. Guys are going to have to learn how to play roles. They're going to have to learn to fit into their roles. And in order for the team to be maximized, there has to be some sort of hierarchy. And I really didn't see that, especially with Fred not out there. I think Fred forces that hierarchy on the team where when he's out there, he's going to get the guys the shots as he sees fits. And you trust him because he's a vet, right? He's a vet. So, for the first few minutes, Şengün didn't touch the ball a lot. It was a lot of guys trying to go at it. And then they just said, okay, let's just spam Şengün. And then it's like, okay, well, that's good. But then other guys just fall to the wayside. To me, I'm not going to put too much on it, but I do think Ime Udoka needs to do a much better job of developing a offense that involves every single person. And one of the main bread and butters of the team right now is the pick and roll. And in order for the pick and roll to be maximized, and if you're going to run a pick and roll based offense, it really does rely on the ball handler. And right now, Fred, to me, he's the best pick and roll ball handler we have on the team. But he has a ceiling because he's not the best court mapper. He doesn't have that passing vision to hit all the passes. The second best player that runs the pick and rolls as far as when it comes to passing is Reed Sheppard. Jalen can score out of the pick and roll, but the passing isn't up to par that you would want it for a guy. You want to have damn near 100 touches a game because that limits your offense. But Reed is a rookie. So you have this dilemma where your rookie who isn't, he has flaws. Reed is, defensive flaws, even though he fights hard, had a great contest on a three-pointer. At the same time, you can see players attacking him a little bit. So he still needs to get caught up on everything in the NBA. He's still young, trying to figure stuff out. But at the end of the day, passing wise, Reed is the one that you kind of want the ball in his hands because he could hit every pass. He knows how to read the game, right? If you don't have one of those ball handlers on your team, the other option is to have a very, very efficient scorer, and which we don't have right now. So it's kind of, we're in a weird spot with the offensive play style that we've chosen. To me, the best thing for the team is for Jalen to rapidly develop the ability to be able to read the court, read the flow of the defense a little bit better. You can see the Thunder pressured him a bit, double teaming a bit, some of off the pick and rolls, and he didn't hit those pocket passes. He just needs to be able to read the game. And I call it the robotic view of playing the guard, right? You think about LeBron or James Harden, all these high IQ guys, even Trae Young to a lesser extent. When they run plays, they are almost robotic in the way they're going to read the defense. Like if you step up on James, he's going to throw it to the big man. If you let him go one-on-one, he's going to cook you. If you give him too much space, he's going to drive to the rim. Same thing with LeBron. Whoever you help off of, he's going to pass it to the help where the defense is coming to help off. And there is no ego in doing that, meaning that if you give him the same look 30 times in one game, James Harden, LeBron James will throw that lob to that big man 30 times, right? They might have one or two like, okay, let me just throw up something, just a heat check type of thing. But if you give them that opportunity to be able to do that, they're going to be able to make the same play over and over and over again. And to me, that's a prerequisite for being a primary ball handler on a successful NBA team, unless you're just efficiently good at scoring. So one of those two things has to give for this season. But this is a storyline I'm going to keep an eye on for them. Their offensive identity, to me, they need to figure it out. I understand with the level of talent and the high draft picks you have on a team, you have to balance it out. But if they want to stick to their goals about really making a push for the real playoffs, people's feelings are going to get hurt, bro. Like, you just have to be able to like put your big boy pants on and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's how we're going to get there. And if the time lends to you becoming a better scorer, if it lends to you becoming more efficient, then we'll give you those reps as it comes. If it comes to you being a better playmaker, et cetera, et cetera. But guys got to do better. I think overall they just have to play more cohesively as a unit in order for them to be as successful as they want, because the way they were playing to me is just not ideal. Now, one of the good things that I saw from the game is Reed Sheppard, all the stuff I just talked about. Honestly, if you put Reed in and if he can get caught up to speed fast enough, then he does address a lot of the issues. Like I said, he can make all the passes in the pick and roll. He can shoot off, so you got to respect that. And he can get to the rim. Because of his shooting gravity, it does give him ability to drive to the basket. And it's just going to be based on how fast he gets caught up. Now, I was under the impression that in the regular season, obviously with Fred playing, that Reed wouldn't get the opportunities that he would need to be able to be a rookie of the year candidate. The way the guard situation is looking right now, he may be right there, bro. Like, there's a chance that by December, he may be the backup point guard on the team, which to me is not a good thing for the Rockets, because if you have to rely on a rookie this early on in his career, it's either he's really, really good, which he could be, that could be a good thing, or you have major holes on your roster. I still think that it's too early to tell. Obviously, it's preseason. Obviously, with the full starters, with Fred and everybody in there, you get a different look from the team. The pace is better. Your staggers of your lineups are better. So, you got to give them that benefit. Overall, I think it was a good game to get film on. I think it was one of these games that you kind of want to have before you start the season, so you can clean up a lot of the messes. I'm going to be curious to see what adjustments they make. To me, these are the games that you really, they're going to help you change what you're doing going forward. The question is, how are the Rockets going to react to what they put on film, right? Can you sit down and watch this tape and say that we're not going to change anything, right? That's going to be a determinant of how successful they're going to be early on in the season, because we cannot start the season looking like we did. Like I said, OKC just looked like they wanted it more. They were more aggressive. They just pressured the ball more. So we'll see, man. I think overall, everybody played okay. I wouldn't say nobody had a super great game. Everybody kind of had good and bad. Some people more good than bad. But just a preseason game. We'll see what they do in the next game. I think we get like a week off in between. So I'm sure they're going to get back to the drawing board, get some film on, and see how they could rebound from this game. I expect them to look a lot better in this game. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this game in the chat or in the comments. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop. I'm going to keep dropping that. Fire.
DJ Candlestick. It's the Chop Not Slap Show.